Can I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Okay,
Rebecca Bohr.
Thank you.
can I have a second?
Rebecca Wolf.
All in favor? Say
Yeah,
aye.
you got Rebecca Bohr, Rebecca Wolf, Linda.
Got it.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to number 4, the draft 2021 to 2022 operating budget proposal, July 2021 approval date. Did everybody get a chance to look over this?
Wait, what is this?
This is the operating budget proposal.
I just put that in as a reminder
Yeah, I did.
that we
I did.
have to review that and ultimately approve our budget for next month, for
Mhm.
July. So if
Yep.
anybody has any questions, I know Marie, everybody has the information. So
Yeah, where is
if
it?
you have any questions, field it to Marie. or-
Yeah,
I don't think it's in this booklet.
Okay, great. So we're not voting on it
No,
tonight.
no,
It's
just a
just-
It's a
reminder.
reminder.
Okay, great.
Okay, number 5, update on resident commissioner election.
So 6/29 is the election date.
June 29th.
We had, we sent out the notice. We have one individual from the building who is interested, who submitted a petition. Certainly, the election does allow for write-in candidates at the time of election. So again, we do all the public notice within the building when that election occurs and the rules. And we notify anybody, again, who's interested, who wants to do a write-in at that time, they can do so. We collect all the votes and we tally those votes, and then we announce who the winner, who was voted in.
So we're not accepting petitions anymore, or we still are?
Accepting what?
Petitions? It's like-
No, the petition closed.
Okay.
So at this point, if someone wants to be, a potential candidate, they can write in on that day, be a write-in candidate on that day. And it's happened just about every election that we usually have a write-in candidate. So it's not uncommon for that to happen.
So if you want to join us.
Yes,
Oh.
come to the good side. Moving on to number 6, an update on tenant relations subcommittee.
This is it. This is the update that we gave you guys the information, and now we're gonna start moving forward on creating the tenants association. So next week is development or tenant relations.
Not next week, the week after.
The week after, we're gonna have, so not next Wednesday, the following week, we're gonna have a tenant meeting again and
Mhm.
start actually planning what the tenant association looks like
Mhm.
and how we're gonna move forward with it, so that both entities can be on the same track when we start development, and so that your needs are being met in the meantime while the board is paying attention to the development stuff. But there will be a notice that goes out with the meeting dates and times and stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that update, Claire. Okay, so we are moving on to the survey data, HCHC, that they performed for us. And I know we had quite a bit of people here now that had did that survey. Rebecca Wolf was nice enough to actually break down what people wanted, such as community spaces, commercial spaces, townhouses.
Well, I just pay attention especially to the write-in things, the like things that were not on the multiple choice kind of responses, but where people had actually written in something specific that they wanted. I just tabulated those.
Yes,
So that's what that is.
yes. So we'll be taking the survey and actually incorporating that into our RFQ. So the developer knows your responses as well to that for what you guys want and need and all that good stuff. And next, we're moving on to tenant outreach, which, as you can see, we're doing as much as we can. We started today at 5 o'clock, letting you guys know everything that's going on. We will be continuing that on in the next 2 Wednesdays, and we won't stop. There will always be a tenant outreach. You guys will always know what's going on and what we're doing. Moving on to number 7, resolution 515, approve code developer RFQ document. think this is perfect timing. I really do. All of it. So, as you guys know, what we talked about earlier today at 5 o'clock, we wanted you guys to be the first people to know exactly what we have decided as the board to do, which, as you know now, is a whole new reconstruction of HHA property and expanding. So we will be taking Bliss Towers down in Columbia Apartments and starting new and fresh and beautiful. At this time, we are currently gonna be voting on our RFQ draft, which will go public. When we vote on it tonight, it goes public. When does it go actually public?
Well, it'll go public after, we have to go through a review
Yeah.
for whatever the board decides, which we probably should do tonight, make a date of when
Yeah.
we'll have a public review and hearing on the RFQ. And then once we go through that process, then we'll publicly issue it and disperse it through a public legal notice and send it out to the developers.
Did we, did we decide on 45 days, or is that something we can decide on tonight as well? Like,
Yeah, because
Did
we
you
didn't
decide
really
on
know
that?
how many days it had to go out into the public.
Well, when I was talking to Claire and Rebecca last week, there isn't any statutory requirement as far as the number of days. It's
Okay.
really up to the board to decide
Okay.
how long they want the public comment to be. Certainly, you could just do schedule a public
30.
hearing one day
Okay.
and advertise it, solicit, get the public hearing, and then issue.
35, he said.
So what day is it today? What's
So,
the calendar?
so today's
Yeah,
the 9th.
So today's the 9th. So if it's
We could have it
30
before.
days,
We need time to
That's-
incorporate.
July 2nd.
Mhm.
Could I do that math? No, I did that wrong. Sorry. It's the July 9th would be 30 days.
Okay.
But we also want to give all of the interested agencies, right, enough time to like go over the document. And so
Mhm.
do we want to kind of set a timeline for like, when we're going to put the RFQ out to all the interested agencies, make sure we have a copy in this room,
Library.
have a copy in the library, but
Website.
on the
Yeah, On the
website.
desktop here.
Yeah, on the desktop, yeah. So all these places, and then once we have all that stuff out, to give at least, a certain amount of time to everyone to go over it. Does that feel right?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking at the next development workshop meeting, that group should come up with a list of interested agencies they would like this document sent to. And then we
Yeah,
can email them that document,
Mhm.
and then we'll have that list and they can respond with their comments or what
Yeah.
have you.
Mhm.
And then introduce the public hearing.
Yeah.
And go through that process, right?
Yes, I
Sounds good.
agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Marie has a comment.
I just wanted to say, I know the Conservation Advisory
Mhm.
Council is very keen to get it soon, so
Yeah.
if that's okay.
Yeah, and so is Joe
Once-
Shaika.
Yeah, so once we vote on this tonight, I would like, 'cause, I mean, it'll be a draft and we're not gonna change it.
Right,
So I'd like to get it to those who are keen as soon as possible.
okay.
we'll say, we'll get it
Okay,
to the people that we already know want
Yes.
it by like even
like
Friday.
Friday.
Is that okay? Are we okay with that? Would you be able to do that?
As long as you give me the email, I can
We'll
send
give
it
you
out.
the email.
Yeah, send me whatever, and we can,
Yeah.
or you have the email, or you have the document, you can email it
I
out
can.
yourself.
That's true.
Well,
We
I'll
can-
just I'll just forward it right to the CAC and
Yeah, whatever you want.
Conservation Advisory Council and
And
Yep.
Joe
We
Shaika,
can
Joe
Yeah.
Shaika, yeah.
and we'll just make a running
Yeah.
list. And then at the next development meeting, then we'll be figuring out the mechanics of, I mean, if we already have that list, right? We want to do it before.
I mean, we could say at the next development meeting, it's 30 days from that point of comment, or we could say it's starting Monday. We should have actually probably sorted this out before. we-
That's okay.
Yeah,
That's
that is.
I mean. But I don't know.
I'm,
Maybe 31st is sufficient.
Well, so if we go
Uh,
back from like our monthly meeting in July, right, is on the 14th. And that's when we want to be approving this document. Does that make sense to go from there instead? So
Does-
like, we want everything to be done July 14th. The document is done, right?
Okay,
So then, is that our understanding?
Yeah.
So when you say done, so that means the public hearing will be completed
yes,
and you're gonna have a single meeting
yes.
of that. So when would this public hearing be? If you're gonna, if you want it done by the 14th, you're probably gonna need a public hearing prior to that, right?
So either,
the
July 7th?
Does the
Okay.
7th work?
Yeah, that's a Wednesday, that's a
Mhm.
normal day, so we would issue in the paper, we would notice that as a public hearing of the RFQ.
And that gives us enough time to get it in for the deadline,
Yes.
more than enough time.
Yep.
The HHA capitals, and then meet lowercase and exclamation point.
I just wanna watch their hands raised.
Oh,
Oh, thank you.
very good.
Yeah.
So are we doing 2 tenant relations meetings between now and the July meeting then?
So, no, there's,
So the
so next
16th
week, there's no meeting.
No meeting?
The
Are we done with
following
that?
week, there's the tenant relations.
Okay.
Okay, so, and we'll also do a release of all of these dates for everyone, so everyone knows exactly which meetings are when. The
Absolutely.
press, the community, residents, everyone, right? So we can do that. We'll have a flyer, we can put a flyer
Oh,
out as well.
absolutely.
Yeah. Oh,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. Okay, so next week is the development committee meeting,
Yeah.
No, not next week.
not June
Follow-
16th.
There's no meeting next week.
Oh, okay, no meeting next week.
And June 16th is the tenants.
No, June 16th, no meeting.
Oh,
Next week, no
sorry.
meeting.
June 23rd is tenant
Yeah.
relations.
2 weeks later is the 7th, which is our public hearing.
No, 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Yeah, the 7th. Okay, so then July 7th is the public hearing.
Mhm.
May I ask that you all make sure that the residents from the low rise receive the notification?
Oh,
Yeah,
they do.
Yeah, yeah.
They do.
we can make
Every
sure.
single last one.
What's the time on July 7th? What time do you want to do that? 5 or 6?
6. I
6
think,
o'clock.
keep it
Six?
standard.
Yeah, yeah, yay. And then the 30th,
Wait, hold on. The regular monthly meeting is
the
the
14th.
14th.
Mhm.
That's
And-
when we're gonna approve the RFQ. Sorry, I just want
So-
to make sure.
Also, just to say, like, we have our development timeline, and in the timeline, August meeting was the month where we were gonna actually approve the RFQ. So this is just moving us faster in this timeline, and if it ends up being August,
Yeah.
we're still well within the timeline we set out,
Yeah.
just to say to everyone
Yeah,
now.
we can add time. Yeah, exactly. if we need to.
So,
Um, Oh, do you want me to- Okay, pass it over.
So July 14th, we approve at the RFQ.
yeah, and
Okay.
then, so July 14th. And then at that point, we're going to release it,
Mhm.
right, the following day.
Yeah.
And then typically, when you issue an RFQ or even an RFP, it's usually like a 30-day turnaround. So 30 days from that time will give the developers that time frame to
Yeah.
submit their responses.
Mhm.
So 30, we can issue it the following day, which would be the 15th, Rebecca.
Yeah,
And then 30 days from that date, whatever that is, we would have the deadline date to submit responses.
Okay, so
the
then the
15th is a Sunday, so let's, wait, what?
No,
that's July.
15th
is a
Sorry, sorry,
Thursday. It's a Thursday.
Sorry, that's a Thursday.
wow, so then.
7, 14.
So then we would, under this timeline that we're putting out now,
Yeah.
right? We would actually have responses from developers at the end of August.
Yep.
And that's when we start getting into the decision period of who we're actually choosing to be the developer.
Mhm.
Which
Because that could be a
will be
fairly
public.
lengthy process
Mhm.
depending on how many proposals you get or responses.
Yeah.
It could take a month to do that,
Mhm.
Okay,
you know?
so that's good then that we're doing it a little
Yeah,
earlier.
I
Yeah.
agree 100%.
Okay.
Okay, I can, it just wouldn't work. I don't know.
Make sure that we
Shani, are you
distribute this RFQ,
Are
like,
you on the
as
Zoom?
widely as possible.
That's a great question.
Yeah.
That's a great
Sorry, what
question.
was the question?
So,
How do we make sure that the RFQ gets out to like the broadest possible community of developers and especially if there are like specific developers that we want.
That we
you know,
want.
Yeah,
Or like ones that, I mean, for example, I read an article about some really cool affordable housing developers. And like, how do I, like, do we have the capacity, can we actually just like reach out to specific ones or what's?
yeah, I think it's really gonna, we're gonna have to do our due diligence, right? And making sure we canvass a large enough audience as possible. And certainly you do that in a number of ways, right? The first, you put it on your website, right? You may want to put it on the city's website. You're going to want to advertise it in the local and the regional papers. Certainly, Darren Scott from the state usually has a list of preferred developers or any developers you may know of.
What about like, are there national websites and, you know, listservs and things? I mean, just because like it's a pretty groovy project.
Yeah, there's
You
the New York State Public Housing Directors Association, which is called NYSFADA. They're a statewide agency, and you're allowed to post your request for proposals or request for qualifications on that platform as well. So again, it's really just, you know, trying to capture every area.
yeah. So under this kind of timeline we're setting out, June 16th, we have no meeting. June 23rd is the tenant relations. June 30th, we haven't decided, but that's the development meeting, right? And so at that development meeting, we can then make these decisions. Does that make sense? Like we can then start talking about, okay, we have this document. How are we getting it out to as many people as possible?
Yeah. The 30th of July.
Of June.
Of June.
Rebecca, what's the August date?
August 14th, I think.
Oh, August. For
August
our
7th,
meeting?
public-
No,
August
for
7th.
the deadline date for the RFQ.
I didn't do that.
Oh, you didn't do it yet? Okay. So if we put it out the 15th, so 30 days from that point.
I'm doing a counting right now.
Oh, that's okay. I can do it. I didn't know if you were doing it.
Can I ask another question? Well, never mind.
That would be August 14th.
August 14th, thank you.
I thought I heard the
You said
14th.
You said it.
You just knew it. What intuitive.
I know, right?
Okay.
Everyone need that repeated.
I've got it down if you need it.
We can start, you should.
Wait, can we, I think that we should pass out a development calendar to the tenants to keep so that they remember important meetings.
Do you want,
On
you
top of
remember
the
that
box.
one I made with the dots? Do you
Yeah,
see that?
yeah.
Do you want, I can print those out.
For
We can
sure.
have them up here. Just so people can see it.
Mhm.
Be
For
great.
sure.
Well, we'll figure out all the things first.
So these dates are gonna have to be revised in the document. I just put some dates in there randomly, so, but I'll change those. But in that RFQ, it did mention that we would also be offering, and it's up to the board, I can either leave it in or take it out, but usually about midway through the 30-day period, we would do we would allow like a pre-submittal meeting.
Cool.
So the
Great.
developers have the opportunity to do either a Zoom or in person, and they can ask, you know, whatever questions they need to ask of the board and likewise.
So like August 4th or.
Yeah, right, exactly, about halfway through.
Yeah.
It's up to the board. I didn't know if they wanted to do that or not, but
If we release it on the 15th, then we could do that July 28th, or does that sound good? Or more time, that's 2 weeks from that. So the August 4th. I mean, if I'll just do a calendar like that.
I think we should give them 3 weeks.
Does that sound good?
and just decide what time that you want to have that pre-submittal meeting.
You probably wanted to do it earlier. just in
Yeah,
case,
for the
right?
developers, right? We probably wanted like a 3.
3 p.m.
3 p.m.
Yeah.
Date?
August 4th,
Thank you.
absolutely.
I thought that was Siri talking to you. for a minute.
Our series. you like me to go over this one more time for everyone?
Sure, run it through.
Okay, so next week we have no meeting, June 16th. June 23rd is a tenant relations meeting where Claire's leading it, going to be discussing the, starting a nonprofit for the tenant relations to help in the development. June 30th is the development committee meeting, and we're gonna be discussing how we're gonna get this RFQ out to as many people as possible, as many developers as possible. Then July 7th is the public hearing, 6 p.m. This is when everyone comes and tells us, you know, where they're at, they've read the document and what we need to do. And then we have a big week of editing for July 14th, which is our monthly meeting, much like this one, where, you know, we vote on these things. And then the document is issued on July 15th. And August 4th, we have a developer meeting at 3 p.m. And then August 14th, we will have our responses. And then we're gonna start the next part of this process. Yes.
That's great. Is this going to be posted? Because I'm not remembering.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So we will definitely, we'll make sure, we'll post it and then we'll hopefully have, it reported on in as many places as possible to get it out, so.
Yes, thank you. All right, so, are we ready to vote on this RFQ document? Can I get a motion?
I make a motion.
Claire Cousin makes the first motion. Can I get a second?
Yeah,
I will second.
and I just say it's as amended, right?
Yeah.
That's good.
All right, Linda, did you hear that?
Approve as amended?
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is passed. Yeah. Okay, moving right on to number 8, update board auditor and check signer. And
Right on yours.
Yeah, so we had some changes, obviously, so Rebecca Wolf stepped down. And she was doing the audit, she was the treasurer. So we just need to make sure that we have the right people in place to do the auditing and to sign the checks. They happen on a weekly basis, so who's ever available or is accessible to be able to do that is helpful.
I'm real unreliable. Sorry.
It's hard, every week, it's kind of demanding. Yeah.
okay, so I know it used to be Marie, right? You were the check signer?
Yeah, and I can't be both check auditor and signer, I believe. Is that correct?
Yes, it has to be
Yeah,
separate,
and
right?
And I believe I have to be checked. We don't have an auditor at the moment, or it will be me, so I can't do both.
Right. So,
I can keep doing it.
You
It's,
can keep signing
it's
checks?
totally fine. No, not signing it.
Oh,
I
you
just
want
mean all that I do for that is I just literally like receive a PDF and I just like put my
Okay.
signature, you know, it's a very simple process.
Well, I can
So you
keep
That
want
would
to
be-
continue with the
Yeah.
auditor?
okay,
and
I'm happy
and
to
then
do
you'll
that.
check signing.
okay,
Works for
that's
me.
perfect. Thank you.
What?
Do we have to make a motion? on
No,
that?
no.
Okay. This is number 9, and I'm excited because we're getting an update from Shaheen DeJesus, live streaming community room meetings, because he's just so amazing. So let's hear it, Shaheen. Let's hear what you have for us.
Be loud, sir.
Yes, so I know in multiple.
Can't hear you.
They can't hear you, Shaheen.
Come on up here. Shaheen. Sorry.
No, no.
This is the microphone.
Alright, I'll just stand here.
Okay.
So I know there was talk about, the board wanted me to come in here and set up the room so that we could have good live streams for people on Zoom and anybody wanting to stay home and watch the meetings. So, I'm happy to do that. And I guess my question for you is, what do you need from me so that we can get this process going?
So that was my thing. I feel like that we should have our own equipment. So I wanted us to purchase our own equipment and then like you basically like set it up and like run, because I'm not tech savvy. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like I would like for, and you don't have to do this, even we can do this, but I would like to get like an estimate of how much everything would cost. And then like you just set it up and run it for us, but we have our own equipment because these meetings are gonna be for the rest of the time, even when we're not here. So I feel like we should have our own equipment. Due to life, like you're gonna get an option forever, either Zoom or in person, so.
Wait, something is happening.
What's happening?
Oh,
Is everything okay?
It's not boring, yeah. It's just.
if we
Oh.
can,
Well. it's part of that.
so yeah, Shaheen, that was it. So what do you think that we should look for our own equipment, or do you think?
We could really do it any way you guys are interested in. I could always look it up. Propose it to everybody so you can take a look, see how you like
Yeah.
it. I have some people, I know you got some people on the board who are tech savvy, so they can look it over and make sure. But,
Okay, yeah, so that's it, that's where we're going. So that's the project for you, is to figure out how we can get up and running and how much it costs and
all right. So
all that good
Guys,
stuff.
can you try to eliminate the
And how much
background
you
noise a
charge,
little bit?
yes,
The-
don't forget that.
The live stream. Thank
So,
you.
yeah, I can expect a proposal from me. I'll say next week.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I think that you guys should
Guys
look
in the
into
background,
that
the
more
microphone is
research
picking up
because,
everything. Thank you.
there's water leaking in between these ceilings, so you don't want to get something that you gotta replace. So something that y'all can take to the next building or whatever.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, that's.
So
You know what I
it'd
mean?
probably be a camera at one part of the room, right? And then we'd also, I think our biggest issue aside from camera is just microphones.
Mhm.
So we probably need 2 mics, but figuring out feedback issues and all that stuff will be the fun tech stuff. But
Yeah.
everything will be removable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, no, it's not like a built-in, nothing. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not like do the other one.
Okay, so next will be the report of resident commissioner, but unfortunately, we don't have Robert here with us tonight. I guess Tim can give us a quick report.
I think Robert.
He's here.
Oh, is
Robert is here.
Oh, great, Robert, welcome.
So this is,
Good
his
evening.
report is gonna come from the phone, so we can have it as quiet as possible so that you guys can actually hear what he's saying.
Good evening.
Can you hear us, Robert?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Everything from what I see, things are going smooth. I mean, the few complaints that has been brought to my attention, that I brought to the office attention, they haven't been dealt with. Someone stopped me in the hallway this afternoon. Someone called me. I was out of town, and someone called me with a complaint Friday. So my thing is, I'm getting tired of people complaining and nothing's being done. You guys that don't live in the building, you guys, you hear what you hear in the street, passing and people stopping you. You have to be here to see, hear it, and witness it for yourself. Me personally, I see it, but I'm getting tired of it. I'm getting tired of reporting it, and nothing is being done about it. So
I think you're referring to the stairwell?
the stairwells, they got urine in them. We shouldn't have to live like that. You guys that don't live in the building, it don't matter to you. But people that live in the building, it matters to them. There should be no urine in the stairway. There should be no urine in the elevator when people are trying to get on the elevator in the afternoon. That's not fair. It seems like it's a small problem to you guys, but the people that live in there and living in the building, it's a problem for them. People have to take that in their house.
I'm not sure what you mean when you say it seems like it's a problem for us, because I heard your stairwell, but this urine is something new. And on top of it, we have
The urine is not
guys
new.
that are paid
The
to
urine
do
is
this.
not new. This has been a problem since like last year, since the staircase been wide open and people had the access to the staircase. This has been a problem. The young kids were smoking in the staircase, leaving food, pizza boxes, urinating, burning paper. And all this has been brought to these people's attention and nothing is being done.
The
And
solution.
I'm sure some of y'all on the board have heard this before.
The
I'm
solution
sure.
the solution that we suggested was creating the key fobs that would only work for residents. So that's next on the agenda, but like, as obviously you're aware, because you're on the board, we've been trying to get ready to release this really important information. So it's not that it's not concerning to anybody. It's that there's a process, like we're trying to get the key fob for people.
Okay.
We're trying to figure out how much that system costs on top of what
Right.
else we're doing too. So I don't.
Right now, the focus is on building new property. That's a beautiful thing. Great.
Well,
I would love to see that
building new
happen.
property, getting the tenants informed and getting the tenants engaged.
Okay. Well, we should deal with the here and now and the building that's standing. We should focus on that more so than anything else. That's my opinion.
There's two comments from the public.
Only comment I want to make is a conversation is an exchange of thoughts and ideas. And if you cut me off before I had a chance to express my idea, then how could you properly respond to it? In addition to that, in order for you to come to any resolutions about any particular problems that may arise, you have to hear what the person is saying, then digest it instead of waiting for an opportunity to jump in like double dutch so that you can express your viewpoint to kind of club what's being said. Anybody who's going to take something objectively is going to listen to both sides and then decide for themselves rather than be influenced by someone else's opinion.
Mhm.
So I just wanted to share that. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Tiffany?
You know, it's very important to hear what the representatives on this board has to say, from residents to outside of residents on the board. But it just seems to me that all of you on this board has the responsibility and access to resources throughout the city and county. And you all are doing such wonderful work. And it seems like every time we turn around, the same issues Robert has is continuously on the table without any type of solution from his part. I don't hear him saying how he's working with the youth department or doing anything to eliminate issues or to even work with the young people. And I would like to see that happen. We've requested, you know, even the basketball court to be back and to engage the youth and doing things like that. We noticed numerous times, you know, when you point fingers to youth without looking at the actual problem what youth are going through to resolve it is not going to help. And, you know, the staircase being open, it just has to be. You know, the staircase being locked for so many years was illegal and putting people in hazardous jeopardy. The staircase right now has access for the people to exit only. You talking about people hanging out in the staircase, and I'm not condoning that, but that is something that's been going on before the staircase is actually open. People hang out in the staircase. You have people less likely hanging out in the staircase that people are exiting. Because that's when people can take pictures, people can complain, and so forth.
My specific question, I said to you, Mom.
I do. So I would like, you know, and if Robert, you want to work with me, I've been an alderman in this city for 8 years. I don't have a problem doing that. But I've been working with youth out here and their parents, and we like to help situations and not create situations worse. We want people to feel comfortable. Maybe children are having issues at home that they don't want to be in the house and they're hanging out in the staircase. Let's help them. Let's find out what we can do and not make their world more complicated. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Tiffany. Did you have something to?
I'm good. Amen.
Anything else you would like to add to your report, Robert?
No, but I'm definitely gonna be in person at the next meeting.
We would love for you to be in person at every meeting. And we would love for you to be involved. But thank you for your report.
You're welcome.
Is there any, oh,
There was a
Rebecca,
Thing that just was brought to my attention about a letter, an eviction notice that was received by a tenant from HHA, and I have a photo of it.
We have it for the, we were gonna ask at the end to go into executive session to talk about that specifically.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yes.
Good.
is there any public comment? Any questions that anybody would like to add?
I don't know if now is the right time to bring it up, but I do have, a constituent in this building that, brought something to my attention. And I wasn't able to email every board member because for some
I
reason.
think we're all
I'm
talking
having
about the same thing.
Internet problem, but I did text message,
We put it on for the end of the agenda.
okay.
That's what she just brought up, and we're gonna go into executive session.
Okay, so I just wanna make sure that it gets, addressed.
Yeah.
So,
You have it from-
Yeah, the land, the HHA land across State Street. Do you plan to, or are you thinking of leaving it as it is, putting new housing there, or perhaps even selling it off?
not selling anything.
Okay.
So that one can definitely be crossed off. And we honestly don't know, though that kind of question is left up to the developer. We're not sure what we can develop on what property. They will let us know what can be provided.
All right, okay, because, there was the previous, plan, they, for building, what was given for, washing back was something about the soil.
Yeah, the developer will have to do, there'll be, soil testing and like determining what's possible is part of the development process.
Mhm. Any more questions?
Yes.
Someone on here said that too. Okay, Deb, go ahead.
I
Do you
understand what she is talking about.
Where you at? You on this floor?
Kids in this
Sure.
building need somewhere to go. You know? They need somewhere to go at, they need somewhere to hang at, you know?
Mhm.
They're not doing nothing in the hallway and the stairs. They didn't chill out, they pray. And I go by the door all the time and make sure there's nothing going on in that door. And I told them anything going on, I'm gonna tell your mother about it. They said, "Dave, don't do it. You know? He is right. You know, we need to do something about this. Get these kids out here, give them a job, do something. I don't see kids on the street selling no drugs. You know, I don't see them on the street getting shot either. You know? We need to do something about this before it be too late to do it. So I know y'all got kids. I know you want the kids to grow up, be respectful, be the right person. Now, we all got to be like mothers in here. Mothers, we need to stand up and do what we gotta do for our kids' sake. That's all we need to do. Forget about what's out in the dog on the street. Worry about your kids. The kids are important to you, not the street. Your kids come first in your life. You got to teach them what they need to learn. What's out in the streets. But I taught mine, and I got some of my family got killed for in the streets. You know? Yeah. You know, as a parent, I'm thinking about this, okay? We need to stand up for our kids' sake. And not for us, for them. Let them know how much we love them, how much we care for, how much they mean to us in God's house. That's how God wants us to be with our kids. That's how we're gonna be with our kids. If they don't like it, go to God and tell God their problem. But the kids out here need to settle down now. And I don't care what nobody got to say. I'm sitting with the kids. Now, like I see them in the street, I'm gonna talk to them. Like they're my own.
What's happening?
We can't hear you. Oh.
Sorry about that, everyone. Can you hear us now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great.
For myself, and I'm not
Right.
speaking for the
No.
community,
Right.
okay, because I didn't critique anyone else's opinion, because that's all we have is opinion, unless we know things for a fact. So I'm gonna leave that there. Thank you for letting me share that.
I
Because it's
agree.
only my opinion, like everyone else's.
I
opinion,
agree with you. And
Unless you have solutions.
I think that that's a good place to start. And I think that us making parents aware that we care about what happens when they can't be there, you know what I mean? Like just letting them know that as a board, we're also invested in making sure that this feels like a community space. Like if there's an issue, that there's some sort of way that it can be resolved instead of just punitive, you know what I mean? Like that's a worry for a parent also, and a tenant. Like if you out here doing this, I'm at risk of being evicted. Like, well, there's a process, there's people you could talk to. Like we're not here to get you in trouble if your kid is not doing something right, you know what I mean? And that's been the narrative recently. And like to ease those tensions and like change what the narrative has been around that is like, if the kid had more to do on top of parent engagement, it could be something completely different, and it might not. But until we try it, well, we have no idea.
Yeah.
So as a board, I think that that's where there hasn't been any engagement before when it comes to like, is there something that you need for your kid? Like there's no involvement when it comes to families at this point. And that's new. And that's why I want as many people to show up to the tenant relations committee meetings as possible, because it can be whatever it needs to be. But like he said, I don't live here. I live in the terraces. But that's what we do. Like we plan things so that kids can be engaged. And we lean on each other when kids aren't engaged. Like that's a neighborly thing that we do. And I know that there's a lot of people here that do that, but out of their own pocket. And that's a stressor. It doesn't have to be like that. We can lean on each other in that way and lean back on the board in a way that hasn't been done before. So
Yeah. This is beautiful. So, how do we go into executive session? Will we like have to go into your office or like?
No, we can stay here. We just have to ask everybody to leave.
Okay.
And we can end the meeting.
Motion to adjourn?
Yeah.
Okay, can I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Go into, I'm sorry, go into executive
Oh,
session.
right.
Motion to go into executive session. Sorry.
I'm sorry, no, sorry.
Thank you guys for coming. It was a really great meeting. Both of them.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
all. See you in a couple weeks.
Yes, thank you.
I hope to see you in a couple weeks. Okay. Nice to meet you, Michael. Thank you all for coming out.
See you.
Thank you, Shaheen. I didn't realize how tall you were.
Oh my God.